thanks to that fourth quarter comeback last night, the Celtics have saved me from an ongoing home loss jinx scenario.
For real.
So I feel good about that.
Shout out D. White for that one.
Yep.
Yeah, D. White. I mean, Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter, like, put that team on his back. And
Right.
But But Derek really didn't do anything until that end, and then that was the difference maker.
Oh yeah, he definitely helped out Tatum late in that game. Tatum was on early, but D. White, like you said, what do you have?
13 in the fourth alone.
Right.
Well, yeah. Also, Al Horford had that huge rebound on the Tatum miss with like 2 minutes left. But I mean, that's the deal with this team, right? You're going to get everybody's best effort going forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think New Orleans is one of those teams where they're kind of like up and down. You never know what you're getting out of Zion. And
Zion though, when he's on like he's on last night.
Yeah, he's hard to stop.
Dude is tough.
Bull.
When he's going to the hoop, get out of the way.
But it's like, all right, he's going left. You would think that you would force him the other way. It
doesn't matter, Wiggy. Like, he literally he's bowling guys over.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, but I think,
it's like you, I'm guessing it's going to be like you on the bunny slope.
It will.
Friday
maybe you're
morning.
right about that. I am bowing those kids right over. Don't get in my way.
But Zion Williams would be a really tough guy to root for every night because you don't get any consistent type of effort from him. But Wiggy, I thought you were right on him. I'm now debating. Wiggy was early saying Zion was not worth it.
Yeah.
The Pelicans are not very good, and I think you might be right, but last night he certainly played well.
Yeah, he played well last night, but I've always said it. He's the most overhyped player to come out, and he'll never live up to that. But Tatum, man, he always finds a way, and I would like to see him sometimes be a little bit more selfish, but I understand he's trying to take on more of that leadership and kind of facilitator role.
That was also one of the most egregious flops of all time. McCollum last night, Tatum was guarding him.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one on the post?
Like, Tatum puts his hand back, makes incidental contact, which is made 4,000 times in every NBA game. And the dude looked like he needed a jaw replacement the way he went to the ground.
That's the new NBA, Greg.
Just circling back to Derek White, though, I think the most impressive thing is we've talked about the main guys, whether it's Jason or Jalen, the past 2 seasons, and the way that the Celtics crumble is because if one of them is off, they're off for the entire game. There's really no coming back, and everybody else has to pick up slack for them. Derek White started off that game. He could not get a shot to fall the entire game. So to keep fighting that over and over again and then to catch fire at the end, that is the difference maker for this team. That is somebody that shouldn't be put on the back burner, because when Jalen or Jason is having an off night, it seems to carry through all 4 quarters.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is how they all mentally have bought into their roles. Like, there's no more selfish basketball, and I think they all know that it kind of goes through Tatum, especially at the end of the game. Porziņģis is obviously a big asset to this team. I like the fact I wouldn't play him again tonight. I would probably shut him down until the All-Star break.
You would?
Yeah, I wouldn't really
I mean, okay. The issue for me is that I understand it's the regular season. And maybe it is that they're getting everybody's best effort every time they're playing the Celtics. However, they are 5-6 against the other top 7 teams in the NBA so far this season.
Right.
So maybe that all goes away come playoff time, but I want those guys to get every minute that they can get and be ready when it comes to the playoffs.
I mean, I really, we've seen it a lot before in other sports. We saw it last year with the Bruins. The regular season, what does it mean? And what does it really mean in sports? I understand people are like home court, home field, but even this year in football, I mean, the number 1 seed in the AFC didn't really matter. But in basketball and hockey, I want those guys to be healthy, to be fair, especially, your top dogs. I want those guys to be ready to go come playoffs time, because it doesn't matter if you blow through the regular season and you set an NHL record for the best regular season if you get bounced in the first round, or in the NBA, that's my expectations of this team. So if you need to rest Porzingis, then get that man some rest.
Okay, well, Celtics escape the Garden with a win against the Pelicans.
You escaped, Greg. That was really the story.
I was a little nervous. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. That was 2 straight losses at home since I dared to bring up that the
undefeated?
That this team could go undefeated at home this season. That's Jaylen Brown after a fourth quarter comeback by the Boston Celtics last night. I'm not going to lie. I was sweating that one out when it comes to the Hillman jinx and a potential third straight loss at home.
To be fair, you spend most of the day sweating.
True. But I didn't feel like they were lollygagging. I mean, I don't know. The Pelicans were the Pelicans. He's right. I mean, I think they get the best effort from everybody that they play. So I don't know. I didn't. They're a different team without Porzingis. I mean, Courtney's right when she brought it up during her lead. Like, gotta find a way to get that guy in for most of it. And if it means, I guess you got to rest him and get him better now, then you're going to miss him in the regular season. But
and when you're dealing with getting the best from every team, like the Pelicans sit at 8th in the West right now. That should be an easy win for you, regardless of if you're getting the best out of them. So you're telling me that there are 8 teams that are better than the Pelicans who are going to give you their best, and then the entire Eastern Conference as well. Like, to me, the Celtics, I'm glad that they recognize that, but that's going to be a long, long stretch of an end of a season for them.
But see, I think it's going to be different. When you look at basketball now, and I think right now with a lot of these teams, especially teams like the Celtics, these good teams, they're caught in that all-star weekend neutral zone where, like, all right,
they're already looking ahead to that.
No, they're kind of like putting it in cruise. Yeah, they're putting it in cruise control. Like, they probably want that rest that they get from the All-Star break and what that has to kind of go. You know, all that comes with that of resting and kind of chilling in that moment where they're like, all right, we did what we needed to do. Now we're like a couple of weeks away from the All-Star break. It's almost like they're in the cruise control. My expectations are once the All-Star break is over and now they're back in, it's the second half of the season, now they ramp it back up. You see a lot of teams, especially in the seasons like basketball or sports like basketball and hockey and baseball, where when you have a good lead and you're in a good position, the last couple of weeks before that All-Star break, it almost like it's cruise control.
Okay, but does it worry you at all that they are under 500 when it comes to playing the other 7 best teams in the league so far this season?
No.
Does that worry you at all?
No, because you have to look at, like, if you go and you start to look at some of those games, there are a couple of those games that you're talking about where Porzingis didn't play, right? So I think that's part of it. This kind of, like I said, this cruise control mindset they're in, it doesn't really bother me because I think it's more of like, you know, guys are like, all right, I'm just ready for All-Star break to get there, All-Star weekend, do what we got to do. And then when the second half of the season, I expect when they come out second half of the season, now against those good teams, they're rolling, they're dominant. They're a team that continues to go out there and say, okay, we are now pushing where we need to be in the perfect position come the end of the regular season.
Who scares you, though?
I don't think anybody
scares me. The Nuggets scare you?
I mean, I think that I believe the Celtics are the best team in the NBA, and I think that they should be able to win the championship. The Nuggets are a good basketball team. No one scares me when I look at this Celtics team. I mean, my expectation is that they win the championship. If they don't, then it's a major, major disappointment. And how come they didn't win? Did Tatum not step up to the level that he needed to step up in the postseason? What was Jaylen Brown? Did he not step up to his level? Was Mazzulla making the right decisions?
Well,
all those things.
I mean, Tatum clearly can win a basketball game essentially himself when he wants to. Like, he took over that game in the fourth quarter last night.
And those are my expectations when you get into the postseason. You got to be the best player on the court. And by you doing that should lead to you being able to win the championship this year.